What's up, psychology students? Welcome back to, I guess it's our fourth week of e-learning. It's day 15 of e-learning, and it is the first day of term 5. So we made it to a new term, made it through a nice long weekend. Hope you guys had a nice long weekend. I know I did. I'm a little tired from the holiday. I think I had too much candy, a little too much hard-boiled eggs, but I'll be all right, and hopefully you guys will be too. Hopefully you had, a good restful weekend and are ready to hit the ground running for term 5. Did a really good job with the e-learning for term 4, and so that was an interesting term because we had the first half at school, and then the middle of the term we had to switch to e-learning. Good news about term 5, well, it's good news and bad news. Good news is we know going into term 5 what to expect. And that's kind of the bad news. What to expect is all of term 5 to be e-learning based. I know we still have this date up on the Logos School website, the April 24th date. Some of you may have heard last Thursday, the governor of Missouri made it official that all schools, all public schools in Missouri will be closed through the end of the 2020 school year, so through the end of May. Now, that doesn't close Logos down officially through the end of May. Illinois still hasn't, made an official announcement about closing their schools for the rest of the school year. Yet, they will. And when that happens, it's very likely that Logos will follow suit and shut down through the end of May. So it hasn't become official, but it's just a matter of making it official. Expect all of term 5 to be done in an e-learning format. Again, that's not an official announcement. I'm just telling you guys that's what's going to happen. Let's expect that to happen. And this term goes through May into the first week of June, and then we'll see what happens for term 6. But again, that's the good news, is that we know what to expect, and we know that we can do this because we did it for the past 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks of term 4. And having the same format going forward for term 5, I think will be beneficial to a lot of people. I was impressed how a lot of people adapted to and really took to the e-learning. So keep that up. Kudos to you. Let's keep that rolling. If there's anyone new to this class, welcome. I think we have pretty much the same students for psychology this term as we had for last term, but if this is your first term doing the e-learning thing in psychology, welcome. I'll be posting these videos onto the Blackboard site, which hopefully you are on right now on our bulletin board. I'll be doing this regularly, not every day because this class doesn't meet every day, but every other day. So look for these messages daily when you're doing your e-learning, and let's get right to that Blackboard system and take a look at this e-learning. Take a look at our bulletin board first and foremost for our class, which again is where we will always post all the information you need for the class. The e-learning instructions, I was told to make them big and bold and front and center so that everyone can see the instructions for e-learning. So there they are, right there, top of the Blackboard bulletin board for this class. And if you are on our class page and looking at your bulletin board, you'll see you have not all these tabs, but you always have 3 tabs. You have your bulletin board tab, your topics tab, and your assignments tab. And you need to know how to navigate these 3 tabs to do the assignments, right? So the assignments, obviously, are found under the assignments tab. The assignments will involve, as it says here, a question of the day, which this is just a discussion board, and you get 100% credit just for contributing something to the discussion, right? There's no right or wrong answer. Just make sure you log in there and give your answer, your best guess to the question of the day. And then there'll always be a reading assignment and some questions to answer with the assignment to go along with the reading. The questions can be found under the assignments tab. The reading, the pages that can be downloaded to do the reading and to answer the questions will be under topics. So if you go to that topics tab, you'll see the topic that we're starting for term 5 is treatment and therapy. And if we click on that, we will see the pages to download. Chapter 18, and it's the first 7 pages of Chapter 18, pages 539 to pages 546. So I always go in here first. I always recommend people go to topics first. Download those pages for the reading so that you have them, right? and we will minimize that for now so we can go back to our assignments, right? Because then you can go to assignments and you see under classwork, chapter 18, page 5, those are the pages we just downloaded. And those are the questions to go along with those pages. And so if we take a look at those assignment, let's see, it's going to look something like this, right? It's going to give you the instructions, the page numbers, right? And again, if you haven't already downloaded the page numbers, go into topics and download them before you begin. That's important. I highly recommend that you download the pages before you begin, and you'll see why in a second. You click begin. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions and a space for you to submit your answers to each question. And then you have 3 buttons down here at the bottom. Now these questions, where did these questions come from? If I go back to the reading, you'll see, if I go back to that reading that I downloaded, they're always the pause for thought questions which come at the end of each reading. So if I scroll down to the bottom of this download, to the last page, page 546, pause for thought. How did Felipe Pinel change attitudes to mental illness? There it is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the questions are right there in the reading, and the answers to the questions are in this section of reading. So that's how you will be able to answer these questions. But when you're answering these questions, a couple of little finicky things about Blackbaud that I wanted to point out to you. I wish it wasn't the case, but this is how Blackbaud is set up. They're trying to make it better. There's a new button that if you've done this before, you'll notice that there's a new button down here at the bottom. This Save and Continue button, that wasn't there last term. They just added this, and they added it because of my complaints about their system not working as it should. What is Save and Continue? What's the difference between that and Save for Later? Well, there's a little information bubble here that if we click it, it pops up and it says, Save for Later to pause your assessment and exit. You will be able to continue later. Save and Continue to save your changes and continue taking your assessment. Do not use your browser back button. Why do they have these 2 choices? So, if you start this assignment, and leave without clicking any of these buttons and try to get back into the assignment and finish it, you won't be able to. You will be locked out. I can go in there and unlock it, and I'm constantly monitoring to see if anyone's locked out so they can be unlocked. And if you need to be unlocked right away, just send me a message and I'll get it unlocked as soon as I can. But as of right now, there's nothing that we can do about that. So the way you can avoid that is if you need to leave the assignment and you're not done, you need to come back to it, click Save for Later. And then it'll be paused and you can get back in. You won't be locked out. Obviously, once you've answered all the questions, you can click Submit Answer. But then as you're answering the questions, what I would recommend doing, after you answer each question, click Save and Continue. Why you want to do this? Because say you lose internet connection. Say your computer shuts down on you in the middle of this. If you haven't clicked Save and Continue, you're going to come back to that assignment. Not only are you going to be locked out, but you may have lost some of your work. Again, I didn't create the system. It's just the way it works. I'm sorry, but the way to avoid that is to use Save and Continue when you're working and Save for Later if you need to leave the assignment for any reason. And again, if you have any problems with this, please message me, please email me, but that's pretty much it on that. And then we have the discussion board. And the only thing you need to know with the discussion board, the question of the day, if we go back to assignments, that'll always be under participation. And our question of the day today, again, has to do with treatment and therapy of psychological disorders. And the question is, what are some methods that can be helpful in treating people with psychological disorders, right? Psychological disorders can be anything from, something like schizophrenia, which we learned about last week, depression and anxiety, learning disorders, any kind of psychological disorder. And so different disorders have different methods of treatment. But again, we're all familiar with this, right? Give me some examples of methods of treatment that you know of, that may have been effective for you or someone you know. I'm going to put, let's see, what are some methods I know? I know, there is medication, right? My keyboard's not working. Keyboard's not working. Let's see. See if I can get my Bluetooth keyboard working here. There we go. That's better. Let's try this again. So we got medication. That's not working. I'm not going to try and type it in on my screen right now, so we can do that later. But you guys know how to answer a question on a discussion board, right? Yeah, I'm sure you can figure it out. If you can't, as always, let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace.